Hey guys, it's Paradise, and we've played and completed Death Stranding 2, and we really enjoyed it. But here are 25 things we wish we knew earlier that would have made our playthrough infinitely better. There are extremely useful things that are easily missed, like optional combat moves, different cargo techniques, and even weapon tricks. So let's get into it. A lot of the weapons in Death Stranding 2 have alt-fire modes and other options. Not only can you switch between different firing modes which are common like semi-automatic, burst, and full auto, but you also have the option of a grenade launcher on some of the upgraded weapons. However, something that you may have missed is that you can turn off the safety lock on weapons by pressing right on the D-pad to open the weapon menu and then holding down R2, L2, and circle. This increases the performance of the weapon, upping its damage and rate of fire, but making it lethal to humans. This isn't the recommended mode to use, but if you are going to, then you should aim to shoot enemies in the legs and arms, which will render them unconscious, while shooting for their head could cause a void out. Next up, if you've built a monorail line, you can of course transport via the cargo trains along its track, but this isn't the only thing that you can do, as if you see a zipline out in the world, then you can go to any of the active bases and use them as a zipline. It's good to know that Sam is able to get more proficient at the different firearms and combat techniques if you use them actually in combat. An easy way to level these up though is by visiting the VR missions, and you'll be able to spawn in enemies or run trials that will level up your skills extremely quickly. This gives you a bunch of bonuses like less weapon sway, more damage output when using melee attacks, and a bunch of other additional bonuses to those different categories. Now of course, leveling up and unlocking new items and gear is one of the best things in the game, as each one is exciting. However, some are better than others. Luckily, the Corpus can help you prioritize which of the preppers has the next good unlock for you, giving you a hint at what they will give you next. All you need to do is look up the prepper's name in the Corpus, in the databank section, and then under people. Here you can check the different preppers, scroll down to the bottom, and it will say what their next unlock will be. Now, inventory management can get annoying, but auto sorting is awesome. Hold down triangle in a menu, or instead hold up and diagonal right to instantly auto sort without having to open up your menu. This will give you more balance and optimize the load distribution when carrying heavy things, meaning you're less likely to damage your cargo and get those S ranks. Another thing you can do to ensure that you're more stable when delivering cargo is to tie it down using the Strand. To do this, simply open up the weapon menu and select the Strand, and while the Strand is equipped, you can unload your backpack onto the ground, aim at your cargo with the Strand, and then press R2 to bind them together. This will make your cargo much more robust, especially if you topple over, meaning your cargo won't spill everywhere. You can even do this with cargo on the floating carriers. And later on in the game, you can unlock auto binding as an upgrade in the APAS enhancements that will do this automatically. Something else that becomes very useful as you progress through the game is entrusting cargo to other players, as this will allow you to gain progression on connections without having to deliver that cargo yourself. The best thing to do this with is the lost cargo items you find scattered out in the world. Simply pick them up and take them to the nearest or the next prepper that you're on your journey to, and then entrust those items, and in a few hours they will be delivered for you. This is particularly effective if you're in offline mode. Now, the Strand isn't just for binding your cargo, it's also an effective defensive tool in fights. While aiming with L2, if you time R2 as an incoming melee attack is about to hit you, you will parry the attack and leave the enemy's back exposed, making them ready for a proper bind by pressing circle or R2 to completely take them out of the fight. Next, if you are spending a lot of time out delivering, then something that will stop you in your tracks is when you run out of battery. To conserve battery, something you can do is turn off the lights on either Sam or your vehicle. To do this, just tap left on the D-pad, and this will actually reduce your battery usage. One tip that would have been super helpful to know earlier, because you run out of ammo quite commonly, is to know that you can drop your weapon by pressing down on the D-pad while aiming. This allows you to offload any excess weapons that you're holding without having to do a specific animation for it. It's basically instant. You can also open up the cargo menu and hold triangle to offload all unusable items at once, but again, this comes with a small animation which isn't always ideal in the middle of a fight. So pressing down on the D-pad is a faster way to do this. Furthermore, if you want to keep those guns that have ran out of ammo, if you return to your private room and rest, you'll get a free ammo refill on your weapons. This doesn't, however, apply to grenades. But since we are talking about the private room, here are some great and simple tips that will improve your experience. You can use the D-pad to navigate around the options in the room rather than having to rotate the camera and actually look at the things until it lines up. You can also skip all of the little cutscenes. All you have to do is press and hold X, or you can press start and select skip. This will save you a ton of time when you want to visit your private room, not just for ammo refills, but also for the 25% stamina bonus that you get from drinking the chiral tea on the table. If you are out in the world and get into danger, or you quickly need to pick off a guard to gain access to an area, then it's good to know that you can actually shoot from your vehicle. If you equipped a weapon, you will have full access to it, but be aware that the shooting button changes from R2 to R1. Next up, blood grenades are highly effective against BTs, but something you can do to get even more damage out of them is to use them in combination with your other weapons, as any time you fire through the lingering cloud of blood that the nades leave behind, your bullets will inherit blood damage on them. This deals significant damage to BTs, and you can see if you're triggering it by seeing the bullets turning red while they fire. Next up, note to save commonly and regularly, especially if you want to go for those S ranks. You can of course do this the normal way by using the save menu, or hitting quick save in the menu by pressing triangle, but our new preferred way is to hit the resting button, as this will auto save for you when you start the rest. Also, if you are resting under a covered structure, or when it isn't raining, you'll be able to sleep. This will allow you to quickly change the time of day, and sometimes even the weather if enough time has passed. If you just want to hoof it everywhere, then an awesome technique that you can use is stepping. This is done by bracing with both arms by holding R2 and L2 and then pressing X. This will eat through your endurance gauge, but it's a great thing to do if you're in tar or if you want to be more mobile. It's even better if you have some of the exosuits that improve your movement, as this allows you to cover a greater distance even with some of the heavier cargo loads on your back. Something that a lot of people will miss if you aren't used to Death Stranding's combat system is just how many options you have for melee. You of course have your standard punching combo, but if you brace with both shoulders and press X, you'll be able to dodge an incoming attack. Not only that, but holding L2 and R2 during an incoming attack will allow you to block the hit and reply with a hefty counterattack that will break through most enemies' defenses. But of course, defense only gets you so far, and something that we wish we knew way earlier in our playthrough was to just drop kick everyone. Once we learned that you can sprint, jump, and then press the attack button to do a drop kick, we haven't stopped using it, but bear in mind it is a bit hard to land. And if you want to make it even easier, much like the stepping we said about before, using an exosuit makes this absolutely insane. Now, it's likely that you've tried out using a ladder to help you cross terrain or climb a cliff, but did you know you can connect them together, meaning you can reach some pretty far and high places? But this isn't the only trick that you can do with ladders, and it would have saved us a ton of heartache and resources to know that if you pop a wheelie on the Tri-Cruiser, you can actually cross over a ladder, and it even works on ladders that go up. So if there's any difficult terrain for your Tri-Cruiser, then try going across a ladder with a wheelie. As you progress in the game, you'll be able to access more locations and hubs, and keeping track of what you have stored in each of their private lockers can be difficult. But if you use the map, you can click on a hub and see what's stored in them. Talking about the map, if you are lacking on chiral bandwidth, it's good to note that you can delete previous built things on the map. To do this, just hover over the desired structure that you don't want anymore and hold triangle to delete it. This is an easy way to free up some bandwidth if you run out. On top of this, ziplines are one of the best ways to travel the world in Death Stranding, and in Death Stranding 2 they've just gotten better. Now you're able to adjust the direction of the line that you travel on. So even in areas where there are a ton of objects that block direct line of sight, you can still create a zipline network. We suggest using the option that goes vertical, as this lets you hop over objects, but ensure that the zipline is within the 300-meter distance. Another upgraded feature of the ziplines is that you can now make even easier networks due to the fact that you're able to connect ziplines to monorails. This means you can save on resources if a monorail line follows the path that you would normally place the zipline route on. Not only that, but the connection between a zipline and monorail actually has an increased distance, meaning you get an extra 50 meters for a maximum of 350 meters. Now, if you have any extra tips for Death Stranding 2, share them down below in the comments so we can all learn together. Here at Arix Gaming, we're two friends who love to play games. You have me, Paradise, as well as 26.
Our goal is to keep the videos as concise as possible by cutting out any of the fluff and focusing on what really matters with high quality videos.
So make sure you're subscribed down below for more videos on your favourite games coming very, very soon.